When I talk to my Dutch friends about their government, they usually talk about all the things that are wrong. Housing, taxes, inflation, and trust me, I get it. I've been here over 7 years and I've watched the prices of food and gas and housing continue to go up. But there's a funny contradiction happening here. Despite all the complaining and all the moaning about what could be better, there are some pockets of genius, like wildlife in the middle of the city or subsidized cinemas, history being preserved in real time. My question is, how did the Dutch get so many little things so right? When we first moved to the Netherlands, I could not understand why the municipalities didn't cut their grass. Now, to be fair, I did see some sheep on the highway eating the grass, and I thought, okay, that's freaking genius. But seriously, when are they going to cut the grass around the apartment building? And it turns out they allow the grass and wildflowers to grow because it provides habitats for insects, bees, and butterflies. And they also have what's called phase mowing, where 15 to 30% of the grass is skipped entirely to maintain these habitats. Coming from America, this is actually a pretty cool idea, and I wonder if this is something that could be exported to the U.S. because, I didn't realize that this was a thing. We all know about the Dutch stereotype of frugality, but I didn't realize that this extended to their infrastructure. When streets are being repaired, they don't throw away anything. They actually keep the old bricks, clean them, and reset them. It's like 21st century cobblestone on a 17th century foundation. Clearly, they aren't just obsessed with efficiency, but they're also obsessed with practicality and saving money where they can. When I'm on the bus, we pass by this stop that says Den Haag Film House. And I look over there and I just go, why in the world do they need a special film house when this city is full of IMAX theaters? Hell, there's one right on the same street. But one lazy Friday, I decided to go and see an indie film. I began to notice the clientele, and then I went to the cafe and just listened to the people talk, not only about the film, but just life in general. And then I got it. This wasn't just some movie transaction. This was an actual community. This kind of municipality partially funded program are not just in some provinces. We actually traveled to Groningen, and while there, we stopped at the Forum. This cultural hub is pretty darn impressive, but the best seat in the house is the free rooftop deck. You can sit there for hours without anyone asking you to buy a beer or a glass of wine. But trust me, it's much better when you do. But the views from up there are spectacular, and this is all freaking free. Like, wow. Again, it's free entrance to go up on the rooftop. The beer and the wine, you got to buy that. I've never been a museum type of girl until I made it here to the Netherlands. And to be honest, it was because it's so expensive and time consuming in my home country to go to a museum. But with cultural funding coming from municipalities, the federal government, and the provinces, most Dutch residents are never more than 5 kilometers from a museum. And the Museumkaart makes each visit very easy on the wallet. This past weekend, I went to visit the Maurits house, and everyone goes to see the girl with the pearl earring. And of course, I had to see it as well. But while everyone else was taking pictures, I went around the corner because I wanted to see some work by Jan Stein. The Dutch have a saying about his work and how having a messy house is an excuse for being human. Now, I'm not sure if that's really true, but Dutchies, let me know in the comments if it is. And I have to tell you, the girl eating oysters painting really caught my attention because let's face it, I'm not high culture, but I do enjoy a good laugh. You gotta look up what that painting is about. I volunteer at a nursing home and I'm part of a walking club. When the weather is nice, we take the residents out, and one of their favorite spots is the Kinderboerderij, which is like a petting zoo. The first time, I thought they were just enjoying the nice weather, but then I saw the residents' face change. See, my residents have dementia, but something about being around those animals makes them happy. A couple of them are former teachers, and they would start asking me, "What is that?" And I was enjoying the Dutch lesson, but it was like I was watching a memory come back to life. Again, another thing that is subsidized by the municipality. The residents also like going to the Volkstuinen. I had never actually walked through one before. I had only really seen them from the train. But these are those little garden allotments that are in many neighborhoods throughout the country. I was told that there's a decades-long wait list, but it's a space for people that don't have balconies or gardens so they can grow fruit and vegetables. The residents really enjoyed talking to the gardeners, but I was always dodging the bees. But it's not just the big, ambitious architectural projects like the Forum that define a good Dutch life. It's the stuff that's hiding in plain sight. When I was younger, I thought the local library was just, a place to borrow books. I'd walk in, grab my book, and leave. It was just too quiet for me. But as I've gotten older, I realized that our libraries are the heart of our communities. This is the library in the city center of Den Haag. I've met people here for a free language course where we would just sit and practice our Dutch in a space that felt relaxed and welcoming. You will also see students prepping for exams, some folks using it as a workspace. They even do a radio show out of here. Now, there is a cafe, but there's no pressure to spend money. But I will admit, the cakes are pretty tasty. This is a space that says, you're welcome to be here. When I'm sitting here watching a mix of people, I realize that this is exactly what my tax money is paying for. A membership fee to a society that decided a long time ago that it's more important to have a public space for people to meet than it is to turn every square inch of a city into a profit-making business. I think it's one of the best investments this country makes. Then there's the Koekamp, which means cow camp, but more on that later. I accidentally walked up on this while heading to Central Station, and my first thought was, why in the hell are there deer in the middle of the city? So I had to look this up. And this apparently was the grazing area for cattle, hence the name, cow camp, as well as the hunting area for the Counts of Holland. I was so fascinated by the fact that this was smack dab in the middle of the city that I just sat on the grass and watched the deer. I mean, seriously, how could you not? I think this was my first time practicing Niksen, the art of doing nothing. In my home country, we would have to drive to a location to find something like the Koekamp or the petting zoo. I lived in the city and it just wasn't available there. But here, the local governments have put nature and the community right outside of our doors, within walking distance or at least public transportation. Now, is the Netherlands perfect? No. But when I look at what's available to me, I see my taxes at work. And for that, I'm grateful to be a Dutch immigrant. Somehow, you Dutchies have built a country that doesn't just prioritize efficiency, you've prioritized us all. Thanks for watching.